To me, it seems as if the Nintendo hate narrative has died a death. Throughout the entire Switch generation, we saw nothing but bitching, moaning, and complaining about the Pokemon brand. Let's Go was hated, Sword and Shield was hated, Scarlet and Violet were hated. There was all this huge backlash to everything the Pokemon company was doing for a long time. And as of this release, the release of Legend ZA, all of that has imploded like a wet fart. It is just over. Like, seeing just how enthusiastic people are for Pokemon Legends ZA, seeing how much mileage people are getting out of it, seeing how long it is, how much content, how much things there are to do in it, seeing how good it looks, how well it plays, all the cool new Pokemon forms, and some of the best characters we have seen in years. This is a major milestone for the brand and is something that should be celebrated. And yet, every single YouTuber I know came out and released statement after statement saying this game was a massive disappointment, it was a failure, it wasn't that good, it was something that proved that Pokemon was on the way out. And to someone like me who's seen people say this since Gen 1 came out, these allegations were and always have been laughable. To this day, you still have people pretending that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet were glitchy, broken, and unplayable, while at the same time hyping up Cyberpunk 2077, a game that is broken, glitchy, and unplayable. It is kind of shocking the lengths that the gaming community has gone to downplay Pokemon over the years. This is an IP that almost immediately surpassed Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy in popularity. This game became a cultural phenomenon. It is the most successful media franchise in the world, and yet we're supposed to believe that these games are falling off and that nobody cares about them and that nobody plays about them. The grim reality of the situation is that the people you see seething about Pokemon constantly are not Pokemon fans. They do not play the games, they don't engage with the brand at all, they don't know anything about it. And that's why you see so many people being hyperbolic and making all these wild claims about the quality of them, about the new Pokemon designs, about the structure, about the formula, because at the end of the day, Pokemon is the most successful RPG franchise in the world. Everyone loves to deny that because it flies in the face of the narrative that Skyrim or like Expedition 33 is some huge cultural milestone. In reality, Pokemon Legends ZA outperformed Expedition 33 in a week. Okay. That is the level of of quality that we're dealing with here. That Pokemon is just such a big deal, such a cultural phenomenon, and we're really supposed to believe that it's going to fall off, like it was never really a thing to begin with. Like, that is what we call a cope. And we've seen this cope take a lot of forms over the past 3 decades. Like, remember back in the day when kids were going to grow out of Pokemon and how South Park made an episode about it? Remember how they were moving on to more mature, sophisticated games like Grand Theft Auto and Halo? Remember how other RPG franchises were bigger and more successful? Remember how Yokai Watch was going to kill Pokemon? Remember how Power World plagiarized them and they did nothing wrong, and that Nintendo filed a lawsuit against them simply because they were jealous? Like, these were all copes that were introduced and promoted to try and downplay the longevity and success of the Pokemon brand. We are really supposed to believe that people blindly consume Pokemon just because it's Pokemon and not because it's such a high quality franchise. It is one of the most embarrassing things I think I have ever seen in my life. It is, I think, kind of peak pretendo culture to downplay Pokemon as a brand. It is shocking how many millennials will try and sit there and tell you, "Oh, I never liked Pokemon. I could never see the appeal of it. Like I'd much rather play this, and this." And it is just a gigantic cope that just downplays the success of the brand. And that's all the backlash towards ZA is. It has nothing to do with the fans. It has nothing to do with like Game Freak or the Pokemon Company or Nintendo or how they conduct their business. Like the issue is that from the very beginning, we have been told, screamed at, about how Pokemon is doomed to failure and how eventually people are going to move on to something else. You know, with a complete lack of regard for Pokemon's actual success and popularity. It doesn't matter if other things are popular because Pokemon is very successful and continues to get high quality new releases that people genuinely enjoy. That is the reality of the situation, is that Pokemon is not going anywhere in spite of the constant bitching, moaning, and seething about it from YouTubers. And Pokemon Legends ZA, I think, is the moment in which these people kind of expose themselves because this game came out, and within the first couple of days, you saw video after video after video from these people like screaming about how bad it is. Meanwhile, the actual Pokemon fan, am slowly making my way through the game, enjoying it, and experiencing what the game has to offer for myself. Like this is the same problem we had with like the Donkey Kong Bonanza DLC, Emerald Rush, and a number of other Nintendo releases, is that you see these hate videos prop up immediately, get tons of views, tons of support from their community. Like they're trying to establish the narrative, and yet gradually over time, people who actually play the game or make their own content and emphasize just why the game is so good. The simple fact of the matter is, if someone is releasing a YouTube video about a Nintendo game on day one, they have not taken the time to properly review it. They have not taken the time to play it. They don't know what they're talking about. And as a result of that, they cannot be trusted. And there have been dozens of examples of this over the years, but I think with Pokemon Legends ZA, this is one of the most blatant, transparent, nonsensical attempts at gaslighting people I have ever seen in my life. Like, we were told that Pokemon Legends ZA was underperforming just before it was formally announced that it was one of the highest selling physical games in recent memory, right? Like, this game has been doing very, 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 very well. And yet you have people like Christopher Dring releasing statements about, like, well, actually, in the UK, it's not doing well at all. Nobody cares about the UK. That is what we call a cope. Like the reality is Pokemon Legends ZA's success was very apparent right from the get-go. None of the issues that people have had with mainline games really applied to the Legend subseries, and as a result of that, people have been coping and seething ever since. It is just nothing they say makes any sense whatsoever. And it is high time that we as fans start publicly acknowledging that. Like Legends EA is a lot of fun. I'm very much enjoying my time with it. It is something I intend to complete before the end of the year. It's something that I'm sure I'm going to spend a lot of time with, even going into next year. Like, there is so much to look forward to when it comes to the future of Pokemon. I don't understand how anybody could possibly sit there and try and say this is a declining franchise. The TCG is killer, the anime is killer, and the video games are as good as they've ever been.